Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Treya Tarot. This is the collective reading for Monday, January 6th, 2025. I am using the Empyrean Tarot today. Oh, I'm a little off center here. Let's just move that. All right. Hope everybody's doing well. I've already cut and shuffled the deck, or shuffled and cut the deck. So we'll just get started. If you guys like these readings, please like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the notification bell if you'd like to be notified when I upload a new video. All right. So, Four Pentacles, Four Globes, Ace of Daggers, Ace of Swords. I love these cards. They're so beautiful. Seven of Cups. Oh, interesting. And then the Hanged Man. Okay. To start with, I'm going to read this as withholding, changing into a new idea. Okay. So that Four of Pentacles, that's about withholding out of fear. The interesting part about that is that it's often the thing that's keeping the querent, the person you're reading for, from actually achieving the thing that they're looking for. So the thing about the Four of Pentacles is that it's withholding out of fear to the exclusion of all the resources that you need, which are right behind you. So this is the end of the withholding out of fear. Ace of Daggers, new idea, new way forward, and the end of the confusion. The Seven of Cups is interesting to me because it's all about not knowing which one is the real thing. It's not so much about which path do I take, but it's what's real and what isn't real, and which options are the truth versus which options may be just a shiny object, right? So here, let me see if I can. I feel like I'm a little tilted here. There we go. And then the Hanged Man, is about waiting with joy. The thing about the Hanged Man that's beautiful is that it's not about stressful, internal agonization about something. It's about waiting for the information that you're looking for with a sense of understanding and peace and delight. Okay. So there's definitely an energetic change here. That's apparent right away. Okay. The Seeker of Daggers, Page of Swords, Nine of Wands, interesting. Sovereign of Globes, so Queen of Pentacles. And the Nine of Swords. Okay, so there's an anxiety that's being worked out here. The interesting part about it is the Page of Swords energy is that very beginning point. It's that I don't know what the new idea should be, right? But the Nine of Wands is self-preservation as well as perseverance. There's an ability to self-reflect inherent in that card, which is interesting, as well as the ability to stand up for oneself and continue forward to find the information or the circumstance you're looking for. So there's a perseverance here. There's I will find my answer present, even though I'm not sure what the answer is or where to look for it. There's a clue here with these two cards that the answer is actually internal, but still, the Sovereign of Globes, the Queen of Pentacles, is about nurturing physical reality. And the Nine of Daggers is about anxiety. Just caught that. Okay. This is about anxiety and pressure that is actually created in the mind. Okay. So the thing here is that there's an internal process represented in these cards that needs to shift or is shifting, that takes someone who's been very insular or isolated internally or unwilling to open their arms, that Four of Pentacles energy, and molds and shifts that into someone who's willing to get more clear and or admit what is real and what isn't, what is true and what isn't for them, what options are right and wrong for them, and then waiting to see if the external reality, Queen of Pentacles, fits into what their knowledge, what the new knowledge is now. Okay, so that Queen of Pentacles tells me that there's this choice to nurture something. There's a choice to continue on through an anxiety, to see whether or not a physical reality, a physical circumstance is actually real or not, which is beautiful and interesting. Okay, Eight of Swords, Eight of Daggers. What a beautiful card. Oh, this deck is so amazing. Okay, Three of Daggers. Right, okay. The prison, the self-imposed prison, is the heartbreak or the expectation of heartbreak. Sadness, isolation, aloneness. But the thing about the Three of Swords or the Three of Daggers that people often miss, honestly, in readings especially, is that it signals the light behind it. It signals the horizon behind the heartbreak. There's an additional sense of perspective with the Three of Swords that's available if you want to take it. And that's to know that if you're not experiencing the heartbreak in question any longer, to assume its reality and constant presence in your experience, meaning to assume that it will continue to happen over and over and over again, is actually keeping you from seeing the healing part behind it. Okay, so there's this collective shift, and I'm going to say this is collective because it feels to me like this is happening in more than one person's life in my vicinity. So I can imagine this may be happening for a lot of others as well. There's an internal shift past old heartbreaks. Because the Eight of Swords energy is about a self-imposed prison. It's not about the reality. It's about the way in which we keep ourselves locked down by our own negative assumptions, by our own belief systems that are not actually helpful. And Temperance provides the balance. So I wouldn't be surprised if many of you might be experiencing the internal reflection of old heartbreaks or old issues that aren't necessarily being manifested in your physical reality, but are being triggered by your physical reality. So you might find that you get signs or signals or memories or remembrances of these things because of things that are happening in your day-to-day life right now that are kind of bringing up the choice point of, do I want to see this through and face it finally, or do I want to go back into the cycle and shut it down out of fear? The High Sage. The High Sage always reminds me of Hecate because of the three. The Magi. Okay. Oh. Okay. So for me, my favorite pair in the traditional deck is the High Priestess and the Magician. The High Sage and the Magi for me in this deck are the same. There's this experience of connection in this pair specifically that feels whole on a spiritual level. The High Sage, the High Priestess, is the card of the divine knowledge. It's the inherent knowledge and connection to source. The Magician, or the Magi here, is the channeler. It's the one who brings that divine knowledge into fruition, into reality. The pair of the two is the complete picture, in my opinion, because without the knowledge, you can't create the world. Without the channel, without the creator, the magician, you can't take that divine knowledge and do anything with it. It just sits there as awareness. So there is a process represented in those two cards that feels just incredibly beautiful to me. It's a completion process. And then we start back at zero, at the Fool. Something massive is happening. And it feels like a subtle process in that it's happening under the surface. But it's happening, and it's shifting bigger parts of our reality or bigger parts of our experience than I think we're currently aware of. The Fool tells me at the end of this, as the final card, tells me that this is the end of something, or rather the transition of something into something else that we have never actually seen before. It may be in our individual lives. It may also be on a collective level, in that we may be moving into something altogether more holistic, more reciprocal, more pleasant, fulfilling. in general than we've ever seen before. But because we're being ushered through this type of process, we are having to meet our Seven of Cups, our is this real, is this not real? What is real, what isn't real? And that Nine of Swords, which is the fear and anxiety, and the do I open up, do I not open up? Do I shed the old skin, or do I keep it as armor, you know? The beauty of this is that the Fool tells me that we leap. We do. We take the risk to be better. And we do it with the backing of all the work we've done, of all the awareness that we've built and worked for and uncovered over the past however many years, and the skill we've learned, the magician. That spiritual skill of taking the subtle and nebulous and processing it and integrating it until we understand what we're actually experiencing, even if we don't have words for it, although the magician would have words for it, if not a teachable practice to illustrate the point. So this reading is overwhelmingly layered in that way, in that you may be currently, or we may be as a collective, currently experiencing some high anxiety and some fear, but what it's actually doing is processing us through to something open-hearted and potentially very loving, self-loving, self-aware. This is probably feels very individual for many people, or feels very insular. Like I said earlier, there's that internalized aspect to this because of all the swords cards. It's mental, it's in the mind, but it's becoming, yeah, it's becoming real. It's becoming physical. I'm using the words real and physical to sort of mean the same thing, although they do not, because real and not real are always up for question. Especially in spiritual circles. A lot of people have different definitions of what that means, but I want to be specific. I'm speaking about physical manifestation, the way in which we experience our 3D lives, you know, in reference to the processes that are happening in our minds and in our hearts. On the bottom of the deck is the Chariot. The Chariot, which I love, this transcendence, self-transcendence, transcendence of circumstance, but also lifting one up towards the sun. The beauty of this particular Chariot is that it's got the moon in the water. Okay, so there's that. There are a couple symbols here that I find really interesting. One, the moon in the water, which means we're transcending old emotional patterns. For me, that's what that means. So it's the transcendence of old emotional realities that may or may not be, or old murky circumstances that may or may not be for us. Oh, my food is done. Please excuse the bell. And on top of that, you have this divine opening. The skies are parting. The clouds are parting. So there is definitely a movement. There's a lot of movement in this, and I'm getting shivers as I say that. So there's this feeling of change that's almost exciting and freeing, and potentially very gratifying. Gratifying is the word I want to use. There's a gratification to this that is deep and life-changing, and potentially life-changing for a lot of us, all at once. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there for today. I hope everybody had a good weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye.